Thanks, Ben. The headlines in the southeast today.
Ceasefire! When do we want it? Now!
Protesters attempt to shut down BAE Systems in Kent over claims they're supplying military components used in Israel's offensive in Gaza. We're live at the scene this lunchtime. Health bosses say they're concerned over the lack of flu vaccination uptake among vulnerable groups. And the fans watch the Seagulls soar in Europe, beating Ajax for the second time in their first away win. Hello, welcome to the programme. I'm Ellie Crisell. Protesters have blocked the entrances of a British military equipment maker in Medway, calling for a ceasefire in Israel's offensive in Gaza. The organisers of the demo at BAE Systems in Rochester say they're aiming to shut down the factory, which they claim provides components for military aircraft currently being used by Israeli forces. Well, Chrissy Reedy is live for us there this lunchtime. Hello, Chrissy. Looks quite lively behind you. What's the situation?
It's very lively and it's very passionate, Ellie. Protesters have been here outside BAE Systems in Rochester probably since about 6:30 this morning. There are about 400 protesters. As you can hear, they're chanting now. There's been chants like BAE must be stopped, no more bombs must be dropped, BAE shut it down, you can't hide, we charge you with genocide. They're also chanting from the river to the sea, despite many feeling that is anti-Semitic. As I say, there's about 400 people blocking the two main entrances of BAE, and the reason they are targeting BAE Systems is because they claim components that are being made here are used for military aircraft that on Gaza.
We're here as part of Workers for Free Palestine, and we're responding to calls from Palestinian trade unionists to support them as they're experiencing genocide in Gaza. We're here to call for a ceasefire, the end of arms being sent to Israel, and for our government to stop its complicity in...
But why are you targeting BAE Systems? Because aren't they they're in a lawful trade here, aren't they?
Right, there's a difference between lawful and ethical. We're here to call for a ceasefire, but also to stop weapons being sent to Israel that we know are being used to drop bombs on Gaza.
But hasn't Israel a right to defend itself, though?
What Israel is perpetrating right now is a genocide. We have seen across, and it's not limited to Gaza either. We're seeing also hundreds of people murdered in the West Bank, and this did not start on October 7th. Actually, this is a over 75 year ongoing atrocity.
So these protesters are calling what they say they want an end to the UK government's complicity in war crimes being committed on Palestine. We've heard from BAE Systems. They say we're horrified by the situation in Israel and Gaza and the devastating impact it's having on civilians in the region, and we hope it can be resolved as soon as possible.
Chrissy, thank you. Vulnerable patients and the under fives are being encouraged to have their flu and COVID vaccinations. In East Sussex, Kent and Medway, less than half of all 3-year-olds were vaccinated for flu in 2022-23. More than 40% of vulnerable adults did not get vaccinated in the same period. The UK Health Security Agency says flu can be life-threatening and that last winter more people died with it than with COVID. Our health correspondent Mark Norman reports.
Flu and COVID vaccination walk-in centres have become a part of many people's winter routine and are an easy option for some.
It's just free and easy. I don't want appointments. Things change throughout the day, and I just saw it and popped in.
I just wanted to get a vaccine to make sure I'm safe over the winter so I don't spend time off and reduce my contact time with the kids I teach.
I had a stroke a couple of years ago, and I like to be topped up with all my vaccines.
Flu and COVID-19 spread more easily in winter.
The NHS campaign to urge us to have the jabs. Both flu and COVID hospital admission rates are lower than at this point last year. But the need to protect people, and in particular the vulnerable, still a priority for health officials.
Get vaccinated. Get winter strong.
It's very important to keep herd immunity, so we do need to get more people to come along. I think the uptake this time has been quite low, and COVID is still around. People are still becoming quite unwell who maybe have had COVID before and thought it was a bit of a breeze. They didn't have much more than a cold, so it's very important to come.
Getting the flu vaccine can be the difference between just getting a very mild illness to getting a very severe disease, and can sometimes lead to hospitalization too, particularly in these groups. We know that last year deaths from flu were far more than COVID. We know that tens of thousands of hospitalizations in children last year were because of flu. So we really want to urge these groups, if you haven't already, to get the flu vaccine.
With only around half of all vulnerable adults and half of children eligible for flu vaccinations taking up the offer last year, the NHS hoping that this winter and this campaign will improve those statistics.
Well, Mark joins me now. Mark, why are so few vulnerable adults and these very young children getting these jabs? You'd think they'd want it more than anyone else, in a way.
You would. I mean, I think it's historical, really. I mean, since the nasal spray was introduced for children, the numbers have always been at around 50%, so the NHS are fighting that. They've issued 8 million invites since September this autumn for people to get the jab. And when you think that hospital deaths last winter were the worst they've been since 2017-18, and for children in particular, if they have a vaccination, it reduces their risk of hospitalisation by 2/3. I think the NHS believe now's the time to push the process again and ask ahead of the main flu season, of course, in January.
Mark, thank you. Better treatment and rehabilitation is needed for drug addicts who shoplift to feed their habit. That's according to the Police and Crime Commissioner for Sussex. Katie Bourne is the national lead for retail crime, and she says police must also improve their response to shoplifting, which has increased by 24% compared to last year. Home Office research suggests 70% of shop thefts are committed by Class A drug users.
So we need the police to react better. But we do need better treatment and rehabilitation courses available for those. And certainly, police and crime commissioners can help with that because we have opportunities to help fund those courses. But ultimately, for those who refuse to engage in any self-help courses, then we need proper and swift enforcement.
Brighton and Hove Albion fans are rejoicing after the Seagulls won an away match on European soil for the first time ever. They beat Ajax 2-0 in Amsterdam last night. It's the second time they've beaten the Dutch side in the competition. The Seagulls are now second in their group and are in a strong place to qualify for the knockout stages.
Fantastic. What a result. Great performance. Clean sheet.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
I've already booked my hotel for Dublin for the final. It's free cancellation, so if we make it or not, yeah. Why not believe? Why not? Yeah.
I'm not being funny. Who is going to beat us in Europe? That's all I want to know.
No. That was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. To come away and win our first game in Europe, absolutely amazing.
I love that confidence, and we'll have a full report including the goals and reaction in tonight's programme at 6:30 here on BBC One. Time now for a look at the weekend weather. Nina Ridge is with us. It's getting cold, isn't it?
It is. It's certainly feeling quite chilly. A cold night to come tonight. But at least with it being colder, it does mean that it's going to be dry. It's been pretty wet this morning, some heavy downpours around. Now, the weekend, as well as being chilly, we'll see some sunshine on Saturday. And for any remembrance parades on Sunday morning, it might be a little cloudy with the odd spot of rain, but the heaviest rain isn't set to arrive until the afternoon. This morning's rain is going to continue to push its way southeast, and then we'll have temperatures at 10 or 11 degrees. Overnight tonight, though, with it being dry and clear spells, that does allow temperatures to fall pretty close to freezing. A touch of frost potentially tomorrow morning. I think most of us will be sitting at around about 1 to 2 degrees. But despite that chilly start to tomorrow, we are expecting a dry day with some good spells of sunshine through the day tomorrow. Those temperatures will recover a little, but still slightly below average at around 10 or 11 on Saturday. Then as we start Sunday morning, there will be a lot more cloud around, but it's still quite cool. So those temperatures 3 to 4 degrees. And that cloud might just be thick enough, as I said, for the odd spot of patchy light rain or drizzle, but nothing significant during the morning. It's then as we go towards lunchtime that this heavy rain will start to move its way in, with temperatures very similar at 11 to 12 degrees. It does turn milder through next week, but at the same time, it's staying pretty unsettled. Low pressure, never far away, so we will see some more rain. Ellie?
You know, my husband's going camping tomorrow. He must be absolutely mad. Thank you very much, Nina. That is it from me. I'm back at 6:30. Bye-bye.